Welcome back. I'm Mike Festiva. This video we get a lot done, drivability issues, take care of a lot of things like that. But if you're new to this channel or new to this video series, last video I bought a Suzuki Carry. Is in really good shape body wise, but it had some engine issues, and as we got in there and purchased it, we found some more problems. Last video we sorted out some carburation problems and started getting it so it's actually drivable, and soldered the radiator. This one we found the water pump's leaking, so we get in there and wanted to do a timing belt anyways on this machine, so we do a timing belt and a water pump. Pretty simple to work on. We'll show you guys how to kind of do that, and if you've never done a timing belt, might be kind of interesting just in general in any car. Another thing we want to take care of, this previous owner put this megaphone style stainless exhaust on here, and it had a nice growl outside, but inside the cab it had this awful droning bass sound. It was just too much for your ears. So put in a little WR250 exhaust out the side. It was real simple installation. Has a nice growl still, but it's much quieter in the cab, much better for drivability. And at the end of the video, we're just going to cruise this thing around a little bit and try it out. So stick around and enjoy the video. So when I got this thing, I knew I'd want to do a timing belt. It just so happened the water pump was leaking as well. So I ordered a little timing belt kit, which comes with the water pump. Found the pump kit for basically about $200 on Amazon. Shipped from the Philippines, free shipping. But I wanted to get it fairly quick, so I expedited shipping for 10 bucks. Ordered on Monday, it showed up Friday. That's pretty insane. So get this thing open and start installing this timing belt. There we go. I'm not sure about GMB, but hey, that sounds all right. But it's kind of cool. It actually came with the Gates timing belt. I was a little worried about the quality of the belt I might get in this kit, but Gates is always good stuff. It's a little tiny timing belt, water pump seal, main seal, cam seal, and another one. This little tensioner cracks me up. It is dinky. And a nice little water pump.
Looks like you got plenty of room down there.
Yeah. All right, radiator's yanked out of here. Next off is try to remove this fan. So that water pump bolt was really hard to pull out of there, but for being a 31-year-old piece of hardware, it is clean. I don't think that's ever been removed. I highly doubt the water pump's ever been done on here. Coming out, good. Look at that little fan. One of the big things I want to improve down the road, aluminum radiator and electric fan. This thing's spinning below your butt in the engine bay at like 6,000 to 7,000 RPMs. Create a lot of noise and drop some horsepower. Things seen better days. Gotta get another one of those. Let's get the part number on here. Yeah, it's got nice quality plugs in here. NGK Radium. Nice color on there, light brown. Always an indication of a healthy engine. Crank. That water pump is hammered. You can tell it's been leaking for a long time. Almost. There we go. Could put a fresh front seal in here and do a cam seal next. So there's two studs over here along with a bunch of bolts that hold the water pump in. This stud, we pulled the nut off of it. We probably spent a good half an hour heating and trying a little air hammer on the pump housing just to loosen up the corrosion. Because this water pump leaks so long, this steel little stud, and the aluminum housing was just stuck. Finally we got it free. Ugh. Just massive corrosion on this stud would not let this come out. What a pain. Home stretch. Fresh parts. So if you're ever doing a time belt on mostly any car, the slack side, which takes with the tensioners on the tensioner side up here, and then this bottom side here, it should be really nice and tight between the cam and the crank pulley. And right up here, there's some timing marks. There's a mark right on the cam right here, and then it lines up with this part on the backing plate right here, and I'll show you the crank mark. And that little dot right there on the crank pulley lines up. If you take something like a scribe and run it right down the back of the tooth, there it is, the scribe's touching it. There's like a little arrow right there. So by seeing the condition of the cooling system, especially the radiator on this machine, its days are numbered. I actually have an aluminum radiator ordered that I think with some mods I can fit in here. It's from a side-by-side, a 650. But that will come up in a future video. This is just kind of be going back in there for the next few weeks to keep it going until I can mod that other radiator and change out all the cooling lines. Well, I think I got it buttoned all up. Got some coolant back in there. We're gonna fire it up, check for any leaks or any major issues, and probably take it for a little test drive. So I took this thing on about a 15-mile drive today, and it's almost deafening the cab, the exhaust the previous owner put on. It's got like a 2.5 inch outlet. It's overkill for this thing. Plus it stops here, and it does not actually take the tailpipe all the way to the back of the truck, so it's blowing hot exhaust across the gas tank, which isn't safe by any means. So I got this thing. My brother gave it to me. It's from a WR250. I'm going to double check that's wide enough with this, and if it is, I'm going to bend some smaller tubing all the way back and put this exhaust on it. I'm going to start it up real quick so you can kind of get an idea how loud it is. nice using lard for the bender. It smells nice when you're cutting it. It smells like we're cooking up some food. I just gotta lay under the truck and mark these. Bring back in tack roll. It always rains, man. Getting going on this project, and guess what? It's raining. Much better. It's definitely a bit quieter. I don't think it's going to have nearly as much bass. Still has a bit of a growl, which I'm fine with, but before it had just this awful bass in the cab. Tomorrow I'm actually putting on the rubber isolators and finish it up. Far better in the cab. Lost a tiny bit of top end around 7,000, which I only had like 1.25 inch tubing. I'd like to go up to 1.5 inch. I just didn't have any. So someday I might redo it, but I think I gained a little bit in the bottom end. But it's way better in the cab. Out here it's kind of loud. All right, in the cab, so much better. That was a win on this one. All right, I'm going on a maiden voyage here to town. It's probably about a 12-mile trip each way. And I tried to go on this trip, actually to the gas station last week, and blew a heater hose. And since then I made it to the gas station, which is about halfway to town. So we'll see if we can push it today. It's kind of interesting. I haven't had a vehicle in years where I had to really worry about if it was going to break down on me or not. I've had a lot of vehicles in the past like that, but it has not been for like 15 years or more. So we'll see how it does today. Well, I made it to the edge of town. It's working great. So far, this thing feels kind of at home on these 35-mile-an-hour roads. I think 45 is no problem. Might be a little challenge to hit 55 and a lot of stuff, especially these big tires, but works pretty good. It's so much more pleasant with that muffler on there. It's a lot quieter. No problem in town for acceleration and pulling up big hills. It's a pretty steep hill here. No problem, I can accelerate up it, which is kind of cool. Tires are way too big. Every time you try to steer and turn and you go over a big bump, you hear them grind on the fender wells. Like, way too big of tires. I think that's a big mistake people probably do on these a lot, is put big, heavy mud terrain tires on here. The vehicle doesn't have enough power to pull larger diameter tires by that size, and they just rub in the wheel wells. It's got a lift kit and they still rub, so those tires are out of here. pretty awesome little machine, man. It just, it can't help having a smile on your face when driving it, as long as it's not breaking down. So, some people might wonder why I bought it. I kind of wonder sometimes too, but kind of try to talk myself out of it a few times in the past few years about buying one of these, and finally decided, hell with it, I'm going to get one. First time I ever saw them was when I was about 20 over in Holland, the vans and the trucks, and I just fell in love with them. And here I'm 40, so I've wanted one for half my life, and I decided, you know, kind of weighing out, side by side would be cool, one of these would be neat, but side by sides are wicked expensive. They're hard to find with, you know, little fixer-uppers for cheap. And side by side, of course, is going to work a lot better off-road than this thing, but I think this thing's going to actually shine a little bit more for road use. I got a lot of roads around my place that are 55 and 45 mile an hour roads, so I think this thing, where it doesn't do as good off-road, it's going to do really well for running into town to get parts. Sometimes I need to run to town and get some different things like hardware for working on my projects at home, and it's going to make it a little more fun. Yeah, you could take any car or motorcycle to town, but over the past, like, I came back from Holland when I was younger, excited about, couldn't get one of these, but I could get a two-stroke scooter, so I got a Trousseau scooter years ago and tricked that out, rode that just for 2 years straight, just that. Moved on to dual sports, rode those, probably put 50,000-60,000 miles on motorcycles, street bikes, and dual sports, traveling around and just using it as everyday transportation. Kind of got burned down on that over the years, so this is kind of like a scooter truck. It's kind of fun to drive. I drove a lot of miles where I live outside of town, so having something like this you can hop in and run to the hardware store is going to be fun. And if I don't like it over a while, you know, like if the novelty of it wears off in a few years, then I can always sell it off and try something else out. But that's kind of one of the reasons why I got it. Plus, I'm just out here exploring some little back roads around my place and having a good time. Whew. Definitely doesn't ride as good as a side-by-side though, but I'm not racing around anyways. Look at this place. It's a pretty lush little river bottom down here. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, consider giving it a thumbs up, leave a comment down below, and consider subscribing if you're not subscribed yet. It doesn't cost you anything, so just click that subscribe button. Anyhow, future content that I have planned, I ordered some steel for this thing, some tubing, and I really actually am planning and drawing out some design for a little ladder rack for this thing. I think it'll make it even more functional. And in that video, we'll be doing some CNC cut work and welding using the Rogue Fab bender. And I just got some dimple dies recently, so we're going to try those out and try stamping some metal with that and see how that turns out. So keep an eye out for that video. And another video coming up, we actually are looking for a key truck for my brother, so we're going to go down to Oregon and try out a few trucks and maybe come back with one of them. So keep an eye out for that as well. Oh, another thing, this video has probably taken me off and on about a month to get together to finish to this point. And I've been driving this a lot more, and it's been super reliable, and I find this machine is more and more functional all the time. It's just a scaled down mini 4x4 truck. Very maneuverable for the property. I've been hauling firewood with it. I've been using it for hauling branches around here and taking loads to the transfer station for dump runs, things like that. So I've been really digging this machine. All right. Stay tuned for more cool, interesting updates on this machine and a lot of other cool content. Until next time, take care. Bye.